Hello again, everybody, and welcome to, as you can see, a very, very special Hollywood Memories. It takes a real schmuck to wear a hat like this, but I would only do it for my favorite columnist, my other woman in my life, and who has promised not to laugh at me as she looks at me. And that is, of course, as we do this special Star Trek special, Miss Beverly Washburn.
Thank you, Dan. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. I'm really excited about doing this particular segment because Star Trek was one of my favorite roles that I've ever done. It will always have a place in my heart and to do this, but it's going to be tough to not laugh just looking at you. I mean, you are adorable,
but not laughable.
Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to discuss your TV segment that was in Star Trek. You know, it was over 50 years ago, and yet people still come up to you and talk to you about it. We're going to start that. Okay. Tell us again, you played Lieutenant Arlene Galway. A little bit about the show, or about the script itself.
Well, the episode was called The Deadly Years, and it was the second season. It was before, actually, that Star Trek was all that popular. And it was the fans that brought it back because it was canceled, you know. And the Star Trek fans are the greatest in the world. They're so loyal, and I feel so blessed to have been a part. I mean, just a small part. I was only in one episode because I croaked, and I died, and I wasn't even wearing red.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
So it's the episode where we all age. I played Lieutenant Arlene Galway, and we land in this place, and then we see this couple that's looks like they're like 100, and it turns out they're like 26 and 7 or something like that. And it was a really fun episode to do.
You know, and when I saw it, or at least the pictures of it, what I got a kick out of is that there's a picture of Beverly and really short hair, and I've never seen you with that type of hairdo. How did you get that? Let's start with that first.
Well, actually, the reason it was like that is I had done a film shortly before that. It was a film with Brian Donlevy and Ellen Burstyn, and it was called Pit Stop. And Dick Davalos and I play boyfriend and girlfriend. He was in East of Eden with James Dean, and we had the same color hair. We were both blonde. So the director said it looked weird that we both had the same color hair. So he asked me if I would mind dyeing mine. So I didn't mind. So they sent me to a salon in Beverly Hills, but now this was like, you know, more than 50 years ago. So the chemicals back then weren't quite as good as they are today. So they put this coloring on my hair, and all of a sudden it started coming out in clumps. I mean, it was just falling out. So they had no choice but to cut it all off. And so I ended up with this really short haircut. And then it was right after that that I went on the audition to read for Star Trek, and that's why my hair was like that.
Do you remember auditioning for the part?
I do.
What was it like? People look at and they say Star Trek, but again, it was just another part for you.
Well, you know, as I said, it wasn't really that popular yet. So for me, it was just, you know, another TV show, and I was hoping to get the role. And of course, when I went on the audition to read for it, one of the first things they said to me was, "Are you claustrophobic?" And I thought to myself, that's an odd question to ask, because usually they'll ask, you know, what you've done and ask you to read for the role and all that. And that was the first question, and I said, no, I wasn't. Well, the reason for that is because for people who have seen the episode, you know that I age, and so in order to have that effect, they had to make a mask for my face, and they did a plaster cast of my face, and I had to breathe through a straw for like 4 hours until it dried. So.
And you didn't freak out over that? Or?
No, I mean, it was kind of a strange thing. I'd never done anything like that. But anyway, that was one of the questions that they asked me. And so I passed that first test when I said I wasn't claustrophobic. And then I had to read for the role. And I read for it and was lucky enough to have been cast. But at the time, I had no idea that Star Trek would live on all these years later and become such an iconic show. And I am so grateful to have been a part of it.
And okay, so now the question I'm sure most people are going to ask is, you worked with William Shatner, you worked with Leonard Nimoy, and my question is,
do you remember working with them? Did you realize what was going on? How big they were? Were they nice to you? Were they weren't nice to
Oh
you?
no, they were all very nice to me. And in fact, for the real Trekkies out there, you probably have seen the blooper reel. I ended up on the blooper reel, and because I forgot my next line. And when I come in to this one scene, I complain about my hearing is starting to go. And so when I came in, I forgot my next line, so I didn't know I was going to be on the blooper reel, but I just stopped and I said, I feel like hell, I can't remember my next line. Well, little did I know all these years later that it's on the blooper
Is it
reel.
really?
But it was such a fun set and so easy, and you know, as an actress you try to come prepared and know your lines, of course, but it was just a fun set, and when that happened the whole crew cracked up and it was just fun. So.
And yet, I mean, I know you did scenes with William Shatner, and was it easy working with him? Was he a pain in the neck? I mean, how did he treat you?
He
Because
was very nice. Honestly, the entire cast was very warm and welcoming to me, and you know, I had no idea at the time that it would live on all these years later. But you know, I worked a couple of days, like I think it was like 3 days. And it was just a really fun set.
And for those 3 days, did you have to sit there for makeup for a couple of hours, or they let you go?
Well, as I age, like when I first land, I'm just normal. And then when I come in and I say my hearing's going, they darken under my eyes a little bit, so I was just starting to look like I'm not feeling well. I don't know if it picked it up on the camera, but that's what they did. And then it was when they had to have me with this lovely.
Wait, and so there's this one scene that you have in Star Trek which lives on all these decades, because when you go to the shows, people come up to you and tell you that line. A little bit about that.
I know. I have to say, the Trekkies and Trekkers are the most incredible fans, and they're so loyal and they're so devoted. And they know all the episodes, and they know every character, they know the dialogue. And there's this one scene where, you know, I happen to look in the mirror and I say, that's a stupid place to hang a mirror. And I can't tell you how many times fans have come up and they don't even say hi or hello, they just walk up to me and say, that's a stupid place to hang a mirror. And it's just so cute, and I'm just so flattered when they remember that.
I know. Isn't it amazing that after 5 decades, people will come up to you, maybe they weren't even born when the original Star Trek came out,
Yes.
and they can say to you this scene,
I know.
and you always appreciate it, right? You've never looked at them and said, huh, what?
Oh gosh, no. I'm so grateful for people just loving Star Trek and, you know, being so warm and welcoming to me when I do these Star Trek conventions. And I was fortunate to be on several trading cards as my character, Lieutenant Galway.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing that after all these years you have these trading cards, and that there's pictures of you with
I know.
Shatner and Leroy Nimoy? It's just amazing.
Yeah, I know. And well, you know, the makeup part was tedious because it was a whole process. You know, I had to breathe through a straw while they put this plaster cast on my face until it dried, and then from that they had the rubber mask that went on after that, and then they had to do the makeup over that and the wig and everything. And I always joke about it. People say, how long did it take to do that makeup? And my answer is usually about the same amount of time as it takes me now. But it was fun. It was really one of my most fondest memories.
And when you finished shooting the scene, and they said, "Thank you very much, Beverly. You know, have a good day." Did you look at it? Did you look at it and say, you know, I'm never doing this again with all the makeup and all the time?
No, it was so much fun to do it. And I mean, that was tedious because also, you know, this was many years ago, so they didn't have all the things that they have today. So just taking it off was another long process. That took like almost 2 hours because they put it on with spirit gum, you know, and it was but it was okay.
So you really didn't mind at all the makeup?
No, I was so happy to be a part of it. But as I said, I know I'm being redundant, but at the time, it was just another role, but I enjoyed it. The cast was great, the crew was great, it was a fun time, but not in my wildest dreams did I ever dream all these years later it would be so well loved.
Okay, so now let me ask you a good question now. William Shatner was known as a ladies' man at that time. And there you are, this adorable young lady with the short hair, and you die in his arms. And anything happened?
No, you saw how I looked in the end when I died.
Well,
I don't think
and
anybody would come on to that person, but no, I know he has a reputation of liking the ladies, and that's fine, but he was a lot of fun.
he was good.
He actually was, yeah.
Mr. Nimoy, Mr. Spock, how was Mr. Spock?
He was very nice, a true gentleman. He was very quiet. I didn't have a lot of interaction with him, but the rest of the cast, everybody was warm and welcoming, and I'm just grateful.
You know, what I find interesting in all the TV shows, the movies, the radio everything, it is, if you had to pick the 3 shows or the 3 episodes or the 3 movies that people remember you by the most, what would you say they are?
It's typically Star Trek, Spider Baby, and Old Yeller.
Those 3.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been so lucky. I get fan mail regarding those 3 movies from all over the world, like, as you know, because some of them come here.
Yeah, sure.
There was one from Hong Kong and many from the UK and Germany, and there was one from Holland, and what was that one? Slovenia.
Slovenia, which we didn't even know existed, yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing that I get a kick out of when I play with you on this is that your first movie was The Killer That Stalked New York. And how did that movie end for you?
I died.
You died. And then you did Old Yeller. And what happened to the dog?
He died.
Then you did Spider Baby, that people know you. And what happened to you in Spider Baby?
I died.
And then last but not least, we did this Star Trek episode. And what happened to you?
I died.
Are you sensing a trend? What happened to you?
I don't know how that all came about, but yeah, I died a lot.
You died a lot.
Yeah, but here I am.
You're still here.
And I have to say, you're killing me with those.
Oh yeah, I'm killing you with those. Wait a minute, I'm still wearing this thing. It's hot as hell in here. So
I love
listen,
it.
I thank you so much for putting up with me.
No, thank you.
Again, just to show you again how lucky we are at the Vegas Voice that I have Beverly with us.
Thank you.
And it's just wonderful. And she allows me to dress like this and do stuff. So, Beverly, I thank you as always.
Oh.
And this is Dan Roberts, Mr. Spock, and my lovely Beverly Washburn saying, we'll see you again, and hopefully you will also go where no man has ever gone before.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks, everybody.